Hello and welcome to Naivety Gaming. I'm your host Matt, and this is the 34th week of Cheap Weekly Thrills. For those who don't know, Cheap Weekly Thrills is where I browse Steam and find games that have been released in the past week for $5 or less. Now, the game this week, finally, as after our mess of a week last week, I finally found a game that I feel fairly confident in. Now, there's this week already, just looking at the games, it seems like that they've got a lot of pretty interesting games out there, so I'm quite happy about the change in, the environment. It seems like a lot of people waited for this week, and primarily Memorial Day, as there's a ton of games that have been released today primarily. But the game that I'm reviewing this week, I actually put on my wish list because I wanted to remember it for later. It's called Project Maze. So Project Maze is, well, as the description says, challenge yourself and beat Maze. The developer and publisher is, let me try this, Lambdadev. Lambdadev. So as the video is describing, there are multiple different modes. There is your traditional mode, I can't remember the name that it was called, classic mode I believe it was, where you just kind of, play through the maze, try to find your way. And there's limited time mode, which is as you'd expect it to be. Survival mode is you have a bunch of enemies lining the hallways, and then combined mode is limited time mode and survival mode rolled into one. But also the interesting thing that this game offers on top of combined mode is actually kind of a, let's see if this video will get to this. The interesting feature this game offers is also a sandbox mode. As, I don't know if you could tell or not, but this game is in early access. But the idea of being able to kind of create your own maze and have it in pretty high graphics as well as multiple different, styles of the maze and different ways to play said maze is kind of interesting to me. So, currently it is 25% off, so it is $3.74 instead of $4.99. And one of the other things that this game has that I wanted to draw attention to is their graphics. As you can tell, it's already looks pretty good, honestly, for a game that is meant to be $5 or less by an unknown developer. The graphics is really good. Traditionally, anything made in Unity is a good kind of benchmark. Most Unity or Unreal Engine itself is a good thought, but it looks like it's by Epic Games. Oh wow, did not know that. Oh wait, that's by the Unreal Engine. My bad. Anyway, the graphics, as I can the graphics, as I've been saying, is pretty intensive, where the recommended is going to be a GeForce GTX 760. However, that is a couple of generations old by now, but the fact that they are recommending, and actually, even at the minimum, having a standard hard physical graphics card instead of something that is integrated is pretty challenging. So I really hope that we can play this game, because I really want to play it. Although it's a generic maze, I think we can have a lot of fun with it. So, just let me take this time to do a couple of quick tests, and I shall see you guys in just a moment. Hello and welcome to Project Maze, a game that you can kind of expect what you're getting into. So for this kind of little gameplay review that I have going on with this, I will be going through the limited time mode. So I should preface, I shall open up my settings so you guys can kind of see. This is all with medium settings. They have high and epic settings, as it is called in the, like I said, the settings menu, but yeah, it was a little bit much. And also, when you first open up the game as well, you might have to adjust the mouse sensitivity because it seems like it takes quite a bit to move around. So I think the standard is like 1.6 and I'm up to about 3 right now. So it is pretty much twitching and it's able to move about through this gameplay. So this is the point of the video where it gets a little bit monotonous, where these are kind of like the puzzle games that I've played in the past, where it's, well, I'm just trying to solve a puzzle, and I am taking the advice that I heard long ago of when you were solving a puzzle, or a maze in particular, follow the outside wall, because that will get you probably the furthest. So, I'm attempting to follow said outside wall, and this is where I famously, or infamously, shall say, initiate the time lapse. So I'm actually going to stop and do something just for the time lapse. I'm figuring that you probably can't actually see anything with the amount of motion blur going on. So here you guys go. You can actually now see what's going on. At this point in time, I think many of you can tell I am very, 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 very lost, and I'm actually going to attempt to incorporate some commentary, so this entire video is just not a time lapse. As some of you may be able to tell, or maybe not, this is actually one of the first cheap weekly thrills that is not running at a perfectly smooth 60 frames a second, as my computer, I wouldn't say is struggling, but is, does not have enough processing power to give this game the justice that it deserves. And as you can tell, I turned off motion blur because, reasons. I actually personally think I'll put it on at least low. I like a little bit of motion blur. But that just makes me a little bit dizzy and a little bit vomity. So I'll put it back to off. Thank you. There we go. So, I think it's very safe to say I am very, 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 very lost. Because I'm just kind of going in a crap direction. The one thing that I do want to point out is that the music is quite nice. It's I wouldn't say it's relaxing, but it's kind of a repetitive not EDM, but like electronic, which kind of fits the sound, the soundscape really, you really feel it with this environment. You feel like you're in a laboratory, you feel like you're kind of in a future, surrounded by futuristic, corridors and panels and stark white walls and flooring and all that kind of fun stuff. And like I was saying, the music really reflects that, which is quite nice because not all the time does a cheap weekly thrill have that kind of idea of itself. But of course, the sound effects, you've got footsteps, and you've got music, and that's pretty much it as of right now. I believe that there's a sound of the door opening, which I probably will never be able to hear at this point, because I am very, 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 very lost. Now, the interesting thing with certain mazes, I'm thinking I should re-evaluate that advice. That device is, well, it will work in certain mazes. I remember the mazes that I played a lot of as a child were very square. So maybe the shape of the maze has something to do with it, but as of right now, I don't even know. This just kind of seems to go on forever, and I've probably doubled back over myself about 8 times, and I'm just making myself even more worried and even more frustrated, and I'm getting very scared. So, one day I will be able to finish this game. But, today is probably not that day. So, let us go back to here and do, I don't know, combined. Nope, there's not a sound effect of the door opening. That is unfortunate. So, I can't tell if this is procedurally generated or not. Generated? Because the first level that I did, when you came out of the door, there's a pathway off to the left, pathway up straight, and then one that immediately went into a wall. So I'm just gonna move past these guys. And don't worry about it. So as of right now, the enemies do not seem that threatening. You just kind of waltz past them, and I'm now... Yep, I saw that coming. Now going in a circle. So hopefully I will be able to get out of here. Or in my case, hopefully I will die in here, because there's no way that I will be able to get out at this point, because I am not knowledgeable enough to... Ow. Do that. Well, I almost got my wish. I did. I got my wish. Exit. So, that was a little game that I like to call Project Maze. It is currently $3.74 on Steam until June 4th, where it will go back to its normally priced of $5. If you've liked and enjoyed this content, make sure you like and subscribe. We could always use some more subscribers around here. And make sure you comment down below if there's any particular game that you picked up for $5 or less this week, whether it be this one or if it's another one, who knows. So, I'm your host Matt, and that was the 35th week of Cheap Weekly Thrills, and I hope to see you guys next week in the 36th week. From there, we'll see you guys later. Take care now.